Whole Foods announcing they're going to stop selling Maine lobster, citing sustainability concerns. The environmentalist groups say that lobster fishing, that industry, threatens the rare right whale.
Send them to me.
Yeah,
I'll take the risk.
Delicious from the sea, it's not for me.
Oh,
you know,
I'll take it. I'll take the risk.
For the carnivore who shared his opinion at the very tail end of that video, lobster meat is in fact meat. It is not a vegetable. So just keep note of that. Anyway, Fox News has their finger on the pulse when it comes to the American people. We're all outraged that Whole Foods is gonna stop selling Maine lobster. What will we do? What will we do? Because you know, American families dine on lobster at least twice a week, at least. Now, this story actually has a lot to do with an endangered species, and that is the motivating factor behind Whole Foods' decision to stop selling Maine lobster. So without further ado, let me explain what is transpiring here. There are two organizations having to do with sustainability, and they've been speaking out against fishing for Maine lobster because of the impact it's having on whale populations, okay? So the organizations, Marine Stewardship Council and Seafood Watch, both cited concerns about risks to rare North Atlantic right whales from fishing gear. Entanglement in gear is one of the biggest threats to the whales. And by the way, there are only hundreds of these whales in existence. I'll give you the exact number in just a moment. But the fisheries use these long vertical fishing lines to deploy lobster traps that marine life end up getting caught in. In September, the New England Aquarium saw a right whale tangled in fishing gear. It's not clear that this was gear from a lobster fishery, but as you can see from the image, if you look closely, you can see the lines, the fishing lines. And according to the tweet, North Atlantic right whale snow cone was sighted by our team yesterday, newly entangled and in extremely poor health. And our scientists believe she cannot be saved, and then they provide a link so you could learn more about what's going on. Now, the decision by Whole Foods was an important action to protect the highly endangered whale, said Virginia Carter, an associate with the Save America's Wildlife campaign at Environment America Research and Policy Center. With fewer than 340 North Atlantic right whales in existence, the species is swimming toward extinction unless things turn around, Carter said. So when I think about my need for lobster versus the need to keep this species of whales alive, since I never really eat lobster because I can't afford it, let's go with the whales. Let's protect the whale.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, yeah, this is the right move by Whole Foods. It really is. We're gonna be fine without the lobster.
So, a bunch of things here. Number one, you know who owns Whole Foods? These very liberal Whole Foods?
Amazon?
Correct, Amazon. They bought them for $13.7 billion. So Bezos basically owns Whole Foods. And what, he's too left-wing? Okay, no. So why are they doing? So by the way, the former owner of Whole Foods, also kind of a eccentric right-winger. Okay, so which is kind of ironic given Whole Foods shtick.
Yeah,
right?
Libertarian.
Yeah, libertarian, and somehow made sense for him to start Whole Foods. Anyway, the bottom line is, Whole Foods is doing this for what reason? For marketing, because more people that are progressive and care about the environment shop at Whole Foods. So they do this as a way of saying, look, don't worry about Amazon buying us, don't worry about what you've heard. We're still good people trying to do right by the planet and everything else, right? So it's for marketing purposes, you schmucks. And now having said that, do I think that it was the right thing to do? Yes, honestly, I didn't know about the whale situation until I found out because of this news story about Whole Foods.
Yep.
So good on them for bringing that to light. And do I like lobster? I love lobster, okay? And
oh, look at you whining and dining.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you like to taste the wine too? Do a little swirl, little.
No.
I get hints of pear and coffee bean.
Do you? Okay. So no, I don't care about fanciness, and no, I don't know any of the wines, nor do I care to. And if I've ever done this, it was only to mock it. Okay, but having said that, lobster is delicious, okay? So I don't agree with the Bible that it's an abomination. So nor do I agree with the same part of the Bible that says lying with a man is an abomination. Okay, anyways, now that I got that in.
I got to comment on your point about the marketing, because yes, that is 100% true. I agree with you on that point. In fact, while reading about this story, I came across the fact that other companies like Blue Apron, for instance, which I'm a huge fan of, also stated that they will stop selling Maine lobster. As a proponent of Blue Apron, as a customer for Blue Apron, as someone who prepares Blue Apron meals for my family 3 nights a week, I will say this with no shame. Blue Apron never sold lobster. It's just not, it's not on their menu.
Oh, really?
Never once have I come across a menu option that gives me a recipe including lobster, Maine lobster, or any lobster. Yeah.
Well, God bless. Listen, nonetheless, we still give away $100 Blue Apron gift cards to our members.
And by the way, Blue Apron's freaking awesome. Like, I love Blue Apron. I started using it in the beginning of the pandemic and I've never stopped because it's just, I never waste food anymore. They give you exactly what you need. And this is not an advertisement. I'm just literally just out of nowhere telling you what I think about Blue Apron. It's just been great.
This really isn't an ad.
Yeah.
It's just we found a way to express thanks and gratitude to our members, and that's why for good comments, if you're a member, you get the $100 gift card, and we give away 100 of those for the moment being on the main show for people who are members if they answer the trivia question right, if they watch the live stream. Anyways, back to this story. The reason I was telling you I love lobster is because, but if you said to me, hey, listen, for sustainability reasons, for whales or otherwise, you should stop eating it for X number of times, 6 months, a year, 2, I don't know what the number is. Okay, and everybody gets to make their own decision, right? And so you might say, hey, you know what? I don't care about those whales. I just want the lobster. It's a free country, okay? But, and by the way, we all draw the line in different places. A lot of people say don't eat it at all. Don't eat the cows because of how we treat the cows. Those are all super fair points. We have vegan hosts, they make a very compelling case about that. I'm an omnivore, and I love steak, I love lobster, I do. Burgers, you name it, bacon, etc. So, but if you said to me for X period of time, don't eat that so we can save the whales, I'd say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't be like, oh, this impinges upon my freedom. First of all, it doesn't. You don't have to eat at Whole Foods or Blue Apron. You can go get lobster somewhere else. Nobody's taking your freedom away, right? They're just expressing their values through that. And even if it's for marketing purposes, I don't mind. It's still their values. They're still not selling it to preserve the whales and bringing attention to it. So good on them.
Now, that is a reasonable way of handling this news. Let's go back to Fox and hear an unreasonable take.
My understanding of this is that obviously Maine has the biggest, largest lobster fishing industry in the country there. And so you've got political leaders and those fishermen who are essentially saying, yes, there is a risk, but it's actually never happened. So we're telling them they can't do their jobs and we're pulling these lobsters off the shelves at Whole Foods over a risk. I mean,
send them to me.
Yeah.
I'll take the risk.
Delicious from the sea, it's not for me.
Oh,
you know, I'm a carnivore.
I'll take the risk.
I love lobster, I love Maine lobsters. So this is an ongoing conversation.
Is it an ongoing conversation?
No, that guy.
I love lobster, so this is going to be an ongoing conversation. There's like really nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, well, how can it be ongoing? Why don't you go to a different store and get your Maine lobster? There's nothing stopping you. They just invent this stuff just to divide us. I mean, this is the point anime makes all the time.
Very few people in their audience is like whining and dining on lobster regularly. Like that's the thing that drives me nuts about this story, right? It shows you how fundamentally disconnected they are from their own audience. We're like, please, we might not be able to buy lobster at Whole Foods anymore. How can you believe it? Most of your audience is like struggling to survive. They're elderly, they're probably living on Social Security benefits, which honestly aren't enough to keep them whole. Like, let's just keep it real, they're not whining and dining on lobster.
But the first thing you said is the most correct and the funniest. Where that idiot meathead, which is appropriate in this case, on Fox News is like, yeah, I'm a carnivore, so I don't do that kind of stuff. Dude, does he really think lobster is a vegetable? He's a Fox News host, so it's totally possible. Yeah, I'm a carnivore.
They paid that guy to be on TV. I wish vegetables tasted as good as lobster, but no, they don't.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.